Hey there, Sam here. I thought I'd start a series where I briefly explain a concept in a hopefully entertaining way. If you are anything like me and love learning new things but absolutely hate having to research it, you're in the right place. So we're starting out with caffeine. I absolutely love tea, and at this point I'm quite dependent on it. So how does that work? Why do we get addicted to a substance such as caffeine? That's what we're talking about today. Now, most of you likely already know this, but caffeine is a drug. Specifically, it gives you dopamine and adrenaline and blocks adenosine. Think of dopamine as the short-term happiness drug, adrenaline as the fight or flight hormone that increases energy, and adenosine as a sleepiness drug. Now, adenosine and adrenaline speak for themselves. But what about the dopamine? Another nickname for dopamine is the reward chemical. In short, it gives your brain the happiness it craves with minimal effort. Other things that give you dopamine include winning a game, exercising, eating ice cream, eating healthy, scrolling your socials, getting enough sleep, or even reading a book. All these things can make you happy and release dopamine. So, how is it addictive? What makes caffeine so good that people struggle for years to quit? The dopamine rewards your brain, making your brain and you in turn want to drink more. At the same time, caffeine has a very clear benefit to you. It keeps you awake. Now, you've got this very accessible, inexpensive way of gaining dopamine and keeping you awake at the same time. Of course, everyone's going to want to get their hands on it. Besides the positive, trying to quit is such a hassle, most people don't bother trying. Trying to quit can leave you even more exhausted than you were before you started drinking caffeine. It can also leave you with headaches, feeling irritable or moody, or having a hard time focusing or accomplishing tasks, give you anxiety, and many more. These are just short-term side effects coming from withdrawal. And there is no real public warning of the side effects, at least not as far as I've seen. And definitely not to the extent that they have of things like alcohol and tobacco use. Now, we all love our morning coffee, and I'm not asking you to quit that. I know I won't be, but that's a personal choice I'm making. However, the long-term side effects are worth considering. Addiction, as we've discussed, as well as increased anxiety, are possible side effects. Yes, both quitting and continuing to drink caffeine can increase your anxiety. I'm so sorry. Insomnia is a fun one that you're probably already aware of, especially if you consume caffeine on a regular basis. The half-life of caffeine is anywhere between 4 to 6 hours. Half-life, as defined by Wikipedia, is the time required for a quantity to reduce to half of its initial value. An example, let's say the half-life of caffeine is 5 hours and you have 8 units of caffeine in your body. In 5 hours, you would then have 4 units of caffeine in your body. But here's where it gets tricky. In another 5 hours, you would then have 2 units rather than 1. So in another 5 hours, it would be 1, then a half, then a quarter, and so on. So you would want at the very least 4 hours between consuming caffeine and bedtime. In extreme cases, caffeine has led to muscle breakdown if they consume too much caffeine at once and their body is not used to it. The recommended maximum daily caffeine for anyone under 13 is 45 milligrams, under 19 is 100 milligrams, and over 18 is anywhere between 300 and 400 milligrams. I have a link down below to calculate your daily recommended caffeine intake based on your weight. Of course, there's other factors that go into this other than just your weight, including but not excluding to your metabolism, for example. A quick review, caffeine releases dopamine and adrenaline and blocks adenosine, making you happy, energized, and keeping you from getting tired. Unfortunately, the side effects can be dangerous to your mental and physical health. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down below and I'll be sure to answer them if I can. All of the sources will be linked down below as well. If you liked and want to see more, subscribe. Thanks for reaching the very end and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.